We dive on into game number 5 of this series. It's 2-2, right? I'm not going crazy. For some reason, all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second. It's this really? No, it is game 5. I'm 99% sure, guys. Alrighty, so ByuN is bottom left. In the upper right, we've got ourselves our boy Zest as well, tied up. I mean, it's kind of funny because these are all map played best of 7s anyway, so even if someone went 4-0, we still play the next few maps, right? But that hasn't mattered at all because it's never gotten to that stage. Like, these series have been really good and really back and forth. So, yeah, some good stuff. Again, just a reminder that every single one of these maps is worth $25. That's how this format works. Everyone's, they're both played basically like $50 for showing up to a series, and then it's $25 per map won. So, a 4-3 would be like $100 to $75 one on either side. But of course, if you go like 5-2, you get $125. You know what I mean? So every map just worth a bit of money. Here in the Alima League, Invitational number 1. I mean, a new Alima League caster, hello. Lovely to meet you all. I'm sure you all kind of probably know me anyway, but yeah, we'll be casting Alima League every other Tuesday, more or less. Once every 2 weeks is basically the idea, unless the schedule gets too busy, then it'll be once a month. So yeah. It's awesome to be here. I've been a Alima League supporter a long time myself. I'm not gonna lie, I like the replays, but I think I support a little bit more than just for the replay packs. I think I do $15 a month. You should check it out, guys. Patreon.com/holymoly. You can also ! Alima League in the chat. Check out the Patreon page to support this very tournament. It's been going on since 2014, 7 years of Starcraft 2, powered by you guys out there in the community. Let's check that out. That's patreon.com/holymoly. Well, probably easier to type Alima League in the chat if you're watching on Twitch. So yeah, just as we get through that early game, chitter chatter, it is a robo opening a game from Zest. Feels like a bit of a rewind back to the first game from Zest build. It's a couple of Marauders and Concussive Shell opening though from ByuN, and this typically forces an early battery. Now, here's the issue. Zest is just like, I don't scout, so he has no idea it's a Marauder opening, but he opened 3 Adepts, which is pretty good in this scenario anyway. If he'd opened like 2 Stalkers, he would have been in some trouble here. But because it's 3 Adepts, not the case, and ByuN even backs it up as well, so even he's not sure about pushing. That's, really was the most uninteresting early game Marauder opening we've ever seen in a TvP, I think. That's pretty, it's actually pretty intriguing. Alright, well, as he gets set up, Starport is coming into the main base, just getting that going. USCV's binding on the natural and getting that ready to roll. A couple of gateways at the front, gonna see that stim pack's about halfway done. And just gonna be seeing our engineering bay coming through as well at the front, so just getting that settled down now as well. Getting this up and rolling, so all of that coming in right now, warp gate's coming up. Just going to be seeing that medevac is going to be coming through on the starport also. So again, all of this rolling. I said that a couple of times now, but I'm just excited for this game to begin because it's been a weird start. And this is going to be immortal into that Robo Bay as well. What was kind of crazy about the first game when Zest went Robo was that he then went into the Robo Bay and he just had none of those tech units. And that first push of ByuN just really packed such a punch, it was so hard to shut it down. This time, he's not going to have, like, factory units or, like, tanks, so he will just have bio units. So I think this could work a lot better for Zest this time around. Because he will have a Colossus to aid him. He won't have to deal with the Colossi being hard-counted by the tanks at a distance. Yeah, I kind of like this. I feel like this has the potential from Zest to survive, at least, so let's see. It's actually ByuN already getting aggressive. A Widow Mine drop around the top. This could be cool if you can pull units into the natural with the Widow Mines and then these units just jump. But Zest has the vision. Again, with the Observers, you shouldn't really be taking damage because you should be very aware of what's going on in all of these fights because you shouldn't ever be caught off guard. That's generally the idea of the Robo opening. As we actually pulled back a little bit there from ByuN. He's going to re-engage. I don't think he kills those Immortals. He's going to try and drop the Mines at the same time, trying to catch Zest off guard. One probe goes down. He's going to take the other to the main base and just try and force more lost mining time. Because that's pretty much the best you're going to get right now is... That's going to be... Oh! He targeted over to the side. Oh my god, so that was actually a real kind of swing of things. So ByuN re-targeted to the right. Zest reacted, but he actually also, I believe, A-clicked his own probe to kill off the Widow Mine with the Colossus. So that probe didn't get shot by the Widow Mine, but it got killed by its own Colossus to kill the Widow Mine. Kind of, I mean, that was just very, like, it happened all so quickly to kind of, you know, actually appreciate what Zest just did there. That's amazing. You know, probe could have just blown up to the Widow Mine initially. Yeah, it was just after he tried to retarget it, right? Because then if you keep retargeting, it can keep mining time, you know, lost for a while, so Zest just says, screw this, I'm just going to kill it via friendly fire. Oh, that's cute. It actually grabs the Observer with the Widow Mine over here. That's actually a big deal. Because that's just a little bit less vision on the right, and it just maybe makes the difference of a Widow Mine that might usually get burrowed and die while burrowing, versus now it might actually get burrowed. So there's a couple of real ways to play around that. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, at the end of the day, this Widow Mine drop might not even drop again, but Observer's still pretty expensive, right? This ob's just still chilling out as well. Just keeping vision of things as we go into the blink, we go into the +1, extended thermal lens. A couple extra gateways still coming through too. See, I just need to clear my throat a little bit. Yeah, just setting up a couple more Vikings coming through as well, so they're going to be producing. And yeah, tank coming in, +1 armor about halfway done. That army of ByuN is going to be moving out across, or onto the map a little bit at least. Spy force of ByuN going to come back around into the center here. It's going to move around to the bottom right a little bit. It's going to kind of get set up, and I think we're going to scan down this Observer, or at least that would be my initial expectations of what's about to happen. It's going to be seeing the hallucination still overhead from Zest right now on that third base. And this bio army will... It's just looming for some damage, right? And again, having denied one of the observers on this right side before, this makes it that little bit tougher to kind of really see, you know, where attacks are coming in from. ByuN runs over here. No way. That's kind of impressive, genuinely. Like, to see an observer that's just sat so still like that, like, maybe it feels like that's the obvious place for it to be, but just, you gotta know it's there, right, with that movement. That's a really good catch from ByuN. Just great vision denial. That's 75 gas. You just gotta rebuild instantly as Zest, otherwise you're blind as to what's going on. It's already bad enough losing one to the Widow Mine earlier, but now losing another? Yeah, those things add up in a pretty serious manner. I turret down between the bases as our tanks will unsiege, and we're going to move back over that left side a little further. Army of Zest coming down the right. Stalker's going to get rid of a little Widow Mine. Still seeing this force of ByuN settling around a little bit. Hey, welcome everyone coming in from the Muslim stream. How you doing? Love the emote, mate. That's beautiful. Much more terrifying when you see it. He showed us it in Stockholm. He's like, look at my new emote, and it was freaking terrifying because it was like way larger than it is on Twitch, and it was like genuinely like a little bit scary. What's up, guys? Welcome. ByuN Zest 2-2 right now in the best of 7. All matches played. $25 per map won. So yeah, it's been a fun series, an aggressive series. This game, kind of ByuN and Zest kind of had a weird start. Zest Robo opened, ByuN Marauder Concussor Shell opened. Neither did any damage or anything. We've just had like a few very minor trade outs, bit of bio here, Widow Mine there, a couple of probes lost. So you really had to join us at prime time for some of the action to start happening, I imagine, in this game 5. Is going to unload on the left as our command center going to move over into position. DTs on the right going to start making life difficult for ByuN. Obviously, you get those DTs up, they start moving around, they start getting into positions here. They can absolutely start making a lot of pickoffs happen, and that's what we are definitely going to be scared of if you're supporting the Terran, that those DTs will just be able to find way too much damage, because a lot of the time that's how it kind of goes down, especially in my ladder games. DTs don't even need to get DT blink and 10 DTs. 2 DTs can kill my base. Oh, we're going to fight here, huh? I mean, tanks sieged up. I don't think ByuN minds this. He is kind of in the choke, And he can't bring his army in from the right side, but now Zest is attacking through the choke. Zest, why are we still fighting? DT's got on top of the tank. Scan is there. The DT's going down. The Vikings got rid of the Colossi. But now you've got a lot of Immortals left against mostly Marauders, so it might be okay still for Zest. Oh, this was a hell of a ride. I was not ready for this fight, because why would anyone on either side of this fight in that choke? Wow, that was extremely questionable. I was not really ready for that at all. Like, okay, ByuN was... So the good thing for Zest was that ByuN had so many units he couldn't bring into the fight initially. But it really was made up for by the fact that Zest just pushed this position so heavily. So, like, I think if ByuN was actually able to get the units in the back into the fight at all, I think that would have been a very simple... it's a very simple win for ByuN, but because they weren't able to fight for so long, it was almost okay for Zest. GTs do very well here. 8 SCVs and a dead base. ByuN needs to probably go do something across the map in response to that. He will set up to go push. 2-2 finishing on either side. Upgrades more in sync than usual, although +3 attack is way ahead for Zest. He's on triple robo, by the way, so he's making 3 Colossi at a time. Okay. I mean, problem for ByuN is it really looks like he's... I mean, he's going to rebuild a 4th, but... Liberator production on the way up, building a lot of Marauders. I guess with Libs he can hold positions. But I like this a lot more if he was still holding 4 bases instead of holding 3 at the moment. Just feels like Zest is... Well, I mean, now ByuN's going to push. Maybe just wanted a couple Libs along with this. Well, they're actually all still at home, so maybe not. I feel like Libs, if they could siege up over here, would be amazing. But Zest's army isn't really set up to fight any amount of Liberators. DTs are kind of wanting to come from the bottom right side of this. Libs are on their way across. The EMPs are beautiful across the army to begin with. There's the DTs blinking in. Scan goes down. They'll die pretty fast. Lib not able to stay sieged up here, and when it will siege, it should get targeted down, although Marauders are putting in some work. Yep, that's going to do it. Colossi on their own ain't going to be able to survive against Marauders, but ByuN actually stops chasing. There's a DT that he doesn't have a scan for. Oh my goodness, ByuN is going to hate DTs after this game, I tell you that much. Nice attempt to save the DT there, I believe, by dropping the Colossus. He wanted to pick it up, he just didn't quite make it happen. Didn't quite make it happen as that Bioforce of ByuN moves back over that left-hand side. The SCV is going to go mining. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of these Zealots continue to warp in. Another Sentry warping in too. This force of Zest is still set to maybe come and make something go down here. Look to make a push down that bottom side. 3 more mortals in production. Hey, I mean, Zest's army surviving is fantastic, but I feel like ByuN did need that trade out a little bit. Because without that trade out, he really would not have been able to... I don't think he would have been able to rebuild up again. Like, I know, like, he didn't get, like, everything, and, like, some Colossi survived, but that's, like, the nice part from Zest, but just being able to reset and force Zest to then focus on rebuilding the basics instead of more tech, I think has been very important here. Stalkers kill that factory as we turn it around. A couple of Liberators sieging up, and I did like the idea of the Libs, but we never really got to see them come into play before. The Stalkers blinked south, and actually the Vikings came from the north, so no defense on the Vikings initially to help the Colossi survive. SCV's now pulling in. Those Colossi are so low, one of them will go down. Just 2 Vikings left, actually going to get the other Colossus as well, but did it take ByuN too long? The problem here for Zest is that he does have some Zealots. I was going to say, there's not a lot of buffer in this army that you'd usually like to have, but yeah, the Zealot count is actually okay, and 27 workers went down. So ByuN is going to clear Zest out, but he's going to have to deal with a very low eco. And actually, Zest should just send these DTs up here. That would be the position to play from, I think. This army shouldn't have been here. This army absolutely should have gone home already. There is absolutely no reason for this army to be on the map in this situation. Especially when you then warped in DTs to harass and to try and keep the Terran at home. The whole idea of what Zest just did was to make sure that your army can just rebuild a bit. And now, I mean, yeah, it can still rebuild a bit, I suppose. ByuN just got across the map much more easily than it feels like he should have done there, and That's still maybe the scary part of this. One low HP Colossus. Warp Prism goes down, so no micro available on that Colossus. It will be targeted down. DTs get scanned. They're going to start dropping. They don't have Blink. No, they do have Blink. They'll blink away in the end. It's the Zealots that are going to be the real saviors here, but ByuN can kite for days. There's nothing really dealing damage to his army as he's going to try and get rid of this 5th base. But again, that's a 5th base while he sits on 4 bases of his own. He just doesn't have the damage output to even get through probes quickly. So he's going to lift up, back away. Keeps the game alive for himself, but I don't think this is really looking to go anywhere at all. DT shows up, scanned and insta-killed. Doesn't stand a chance. Another round of Zealots warping into the top side. They're going to come and join through as we push forward. Nice, decent EMP. There's the blink from the DTs, though, so no EMP for those DTs is painful. I think the scan was even just out of position, too. Looks like Zest is going to win this one out. You know, I actually think Zest just playing with the DTs is, like, super scary. Like, he is able to get so much utility out of these DTs. Yeah, it was a cool game from Zest. There was a couple moments where, especially like I was saying, when that army I feel like should have just been at home. Felt like that made it a lot dirtier and messier than it needed to be, but right now it's kind of obvious that he's otherwise played a good enough game to bring this to victory. GG's, and we're going to be seeing Zest take a 3-2 lead in the matchup. That's what I'm trying to test. So if someone like joins the stream now, in theory, they shouldn't get an ad because we played like a 30-second ad. That's the theory. But it says that it's not. Pre-rolls are yeah, it says pre-rolls are on still, but it shouldn't. Anyways, top left, our blue Terran player is ByuN. And the bottom right, our red Protoss is Zest. Game 6 of our series. As we continue through. Do. You know what I could do? I could try and open my stream on the other PC. And then I would just be able to see if I get an ad or not. Aha. I don't know if... So... I don't know if it matters for people who just joined, though. I just got an ad anyway. Yeah, it's weird, guys. I think if you were here for the ad, it will turn off ads during the game that Twitch might accidentally run. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. I just thought it might be something worth doing anyways. I'll have to look into it more. SCV is going to fight a probe as we get this underway. As we do have our CC. And a reactor dropping down. You know, for a moment I kind of thought that there was a gap in this reactor and depot, but now I realize that that's not the case at all. So I don't know. Just at a glance, I saw it wrong, I suppose. Throw back up into the main. Gonna start a Twilight Council over to the right side, and yeah, the Adept just kind of shading around a little bit too, having a bit of a peek here and there as to just what's going on. This couple of Marines gonna be popping out, and I'm gonna just rally forward. So it's the game back to this kind of reactor early in the game kind of set up from ByuN. Last time he went a lot of racks with this. This time he'll go with the factories, so changing it up a bit. And Zest's going to play that Twilight Council. Also, last time he did this, Zest was going Stargate. This time, Zest's going Twilight. So, just two very different, I mean, similar first couple minutes, but really does diverge into so much else beyond that. A lot of potential, a lot of different possibility here. There's a Dev coming shading through, just trying to say hello and see what's up. Skill drops down on that natural expansion. Just going to be seeing a robo facility building from Zest on the natural as well. Again, that up and running. Blink is building in the main. It's already building this through. Yeah, Blink starts, then you go robo. This should just be a nice fast third base. There's nothing that really points to this being aggressive. It's a 3:45 third, which is really early on. Like, that's a super quick third. As that adept goes a shade on by. Gets into that natural little look to see what's going on. And the two stalkers of Zest are going to make their way up and around the top. They're really just looking for map control. I think he's a little unsure as to what ByuN's up to. You know, what has he seen this game? Not a lot. Bunker at the front. Definitely hasn't seen anything like the medevac or so. So it really feels like he was kind of watching for that. Doesn't see it. When I pull those stalkers back now. So here we go. Following our little medevac. Now, obviously, all the units are here in the natural, and having Blink ready for this means it's easier to shut down that medevac. Ooh, what a turn from ByuN! He's going to dodge the hallucination, whether that was intentional or not. That's actually pretty cool. Dodging the hallucination means that, actually, I mean, everything about this is good, because then he could have flown into the main, which is unprotected, but he flew over the third, which is already up and running, so Zest will see that medevac, knows where it is, and even gets another glimpse of it here. Blink is still on cooldown. Did he not notice? He might not have noticed. Uh-oh. Well, now the main base is unprotected, so actually a pretty decent chance to get some damage done. As the Stalkers continuing across the map, but there's a good amount of ByuNs here, right? There shouldn't be any issues with really dealing with those Stalkers. Jump into the natural. Well, I guess if then, you know, ByuN's on in position, then it is a bit tougher. I guess no stim, so it takes a little while to clean this up, and maybe you take some damage in the process. Because I wouldn't mind dropping. I'm just going to start recalling home here. Wouldn't mind going to go off on one probe to begin with. This wouldn't mind gets two. And there's one more left in this medevac, which is going to unload for just, well, attempting one more. And he's going to unburrow, reburrow, and he will still get the one extra. Stops the mining time for a little longer. Water turret on the right side as well, so into the natural and getting 6 workers total. 8 workers total. That Raven delivered at the end for 4 kills of its own in total. Okay. Not bad in the end. And the medevac survived as well, so that's something you can add to your army. You don't have to, you know, sit without that at all. Fire Force just continuing around. A couple of Widow Mines still setting up, and these few Marines are going to begin to unload as well. It's just going to unload these on the natural. Again, Stimpack, Combat Shield, +1 attack. All of that continuing through as now the Storm gets set up on that Temple Archives as well. So just bringing this up and running. Chrono boosting away as our few Stalkers wanting to come in, and those Marauders going to get those Stalkers turned out of here. Stalkers get turned away. Now the Bioforce of ByuN still trying to make its way down the bottom side of the map. On the top we actually have an Adept, which is going to get picked off right away too, so that will fall. A 5-star now Bioforce on this bottom side. Now the fun thing here from Zest is that he's got Storm. I love a bit of Storm in these situations. I actually think Storm is like one of my favorite things to see in the PvT lately. It's just a little bit different and you can make it work. ByuN gets turned around on that bottom side. Well, game sells for a moment or two as the Ghost Academy comes up. I don't think ByuN's going to try a fight with Storm being ready here from Zest. So I imagine ByuN's just going to hold this back for a little bit. We're going to load up 4 medevacs of units, mind you, and they are going to start going through the bottom and in towards this main base right now. So in we go, but there's a few Stalkers there, and those Stalkers are going to be able to keep those medevacs at bay. Yeah, I mean, well defended for the moment. Just going to be seen again. The Ghost Academy done. We should have Ghosts being added on soon. ByuN made his way to a 3rd base. Just again, one quick reminder, this is Game 6, and Zest leads 3-2. But if Zest wins this game, we will still see a Game 7 between ByuN and Zest. Because it's money gained for every match played in this series. So it's every map played in this 7. It's not really a best of 7. It's a 7-game series, really, but so far that's not really mattered because it's been very back and forth on the scoreboards in both of the best of 7s we've done. Just want to remind it, just in case people, see ByuN lose and like, no, the TvP's over, I'm out of here. Not quite the case. Starport on the way up is just going to be seen now. Marauders coming through, the concussive shell is building up. Last little bits and pieces added in here from ByuN. There are the ghosts, so we've got EMPs available now. Of course, Zest is already, again, a step ahead on the tech. He's got the disruptors out. With disruptors out, you can obviously hit ghosts. You can stop them from standing there and getting those EMPs off quite nicely. So what we're going to start to see is we actually see ByuN going to jump on one disruptor already. Now we're going to have those zealots chasing forward. The stalkers coming through. Boom, and the Widowmine goes down. 2 more disruptors and group of units going down there. Nice EMP though, you will follow up by at least getting rid of one of these disruptors. It's a great little follow-up at least. High army back up to the top. Gonna grab an observer there. So observer going down bottom side. Zest setting up as well. Two upgrades, ship weapons, all coming through. BO7 still in the center and just going to be seeing a couple High Templar also wanting to make a little bit of an adventure forward there. High Templars do get their storms off, so getting a couple decent storms and with additional racks on the way in. ByuN still just powering up, 4th base going through. That disruptor shot doesn't fly for long enough. There's plenty of disruptors up this ramp though, so Zest really can just hold this at bay. He's going to hit an EMP onto the High Templar. Funnily enough, the High Templar did get a feedback off, hit the Ghost, which hadn't hit the EMP. So both the Ghosts are left without energy, as are both the High Templar. Does one attack affect storm damage? No, Storm's a spell. Spells aren't affected by attack upgrades. Or defense upgrades. Good little fact to know is 3 more Stargates come down here from Zest. Again, those additional Stargates coming through. Still this bit of Bioforce from ByuN. Moving around a little bit. Our Stalkers from Zest still out down the bottom side. Just going to load up a few medevacs and go hunting. Going to go into the natural expansion. See what may be done. Storm comes down immediately. Yep, that's not going to work out too well. And Zest is just playing a really good defensive game. I think Zest just kind of knows as well. He's like, well, I know you like to attack. So if you're the kind of guy that likes to attack, but I can just defend and get into a better and better army, then I'm just going to do that. I don't think he's worried about ByuN setting up into like too many bases and too much like, super late game Terran himself. I think Zest is expecting him to stay on the map, being aggressive. That's a nice cache though. Disruptor stall going down. It's a fragile defense to Zest up this ramp, but that disruptor shot's going to connect though. Battery kept it alive for long enough. Oh, and what was a beautiful attack forward here from ByuN suddenly turns into a little bit of disaster just because that one disruptor hit so much. He'll continue up this ramp with everything else now, though. And just as I was complimenting Zest's defense, it kind of falls apart a little bit. That one storm goes down. EMP is available. It's going to be Stalkers from the other side. ByuN's going to run into them. That was a fantastic set of trades from ByuN. He evolved from that one disruptor shot, which maybe could have even been denied if he stayed on it initially. Yeah, maybe being good. Another storm dead center on the bio units. Another storm. One doesn't connect as much. One more, but ByuN's still dodging. That might have been the last storm in the game right now. 50 energy, 27. And none of these High Templar have the energy to storm again, so ByuN's going to run up into the natural. Now, this is one of the issues of having your base bottom left-hand side. Especially if you're going to try and fight around here. You're just so out of position. If you have your base here, then obviously you've got to defend here and here, but yeah, it's maybe not so much having the base on the bottom as much as it is that Zest tried to fight from the left, got pushed back, and then ran all the way around, gave ByuN the position on the high ground here initially. Zest is able to turn it around. As ByuN is getting the medevac upgrade, the rapid reignition system that increases the duration of the medevac boost. Interesting addition, we don't see that every day as a couple of disruptors go down. EMP sets up. Trying to hit those High Templar with the EMP. Good dodging with the High Templar. Beautiful dodging with the Templars. We always talk about dodging storms. How about dodging EMPs? That was really something. And all of a sudden, you've bought the time to get up to carriers? Is it going to make enough of a difference? Maybe not, but I mean, the micro there from Zest was pretty freaking cool. Dodged multiple EMPs multiple times with the same set of TIE Templars. He leaves the libs on the low ground ByuN as he runs into the main base. He's hunting carriers, basically. Does he have an EMP for the rest of High Templar? He misses it, so actually High Templars have Storm here still, and the carriers survive. Oh, we're going to lift up, and ByuN's going to go and drop down to the low ground on top of these Stalkers, which just try to come in to clean up a little bit. Well, looks like these few units will go down. He actually saw some in medevacs that escape away. I can't believe the carriers survived there. I thought as though there was actually going to be a bunch of carriers lost, but yeah, only one fell. The other one got to live. Well, as ByuN pulls it back and gets his reinforcements and gets ready to go once more. ByuN comes out of this with less of an advantage than what he had going into it, which is maybe a bit of a shame. Obviously an argument there that that ain't good. And that was not a successful attack, and I have to kind of agree. I don't think it was that successful of an attack overall. Just felt like he was going to be able to do so much more. Honestly, if he hit like the EMP on the High Templar sooner, Zest would have been dead. Because ByuN would have hit that EMP, he would have just dove on the army. And once that army gets dove on, the carriers are basically going to go show up to the fight once everything's dead, and then, you know, the rest of the game doesn't matter. You know, because there's just like 3 carriers hanging around and nothing else. So yeah, that was kind of, genuinely was pretty wild. Those Marines put in some work and clearing out the, couple interceptors. I mean, Zest can still kind of turtle up. It's the power of the carriers. Then getting some more tech units out. Viking count rising. Ghost being rebuilt. He will heavy drop into this natural, and to be fair, there's barely anything here. And especially if you're dropping, if you like spread out and you don't get hit by like one big storm, which should be very possible, then yeah, that'd be great. But he actually flew into an observer, which he did fine. Again, ByuN's observer spot in this game has been absolutely impeccable. Like, it's actually kind of crazy how good he's been at seeing those observers every single time. Of course, ByuN is controlling the game heavily. He's taken multiple commands and has gotten 5th base of his own mining, and not allowing Zest out of his own kind of set of bases. And as Zest pushes up the top, of course, the risk is going to be the attack on the left as he killed a Stalker there. Just going to EMP. There was a storm. Nice storm. ByuN didn't really respect that at all. And kind of ran headfirst into it, so took a bit of damage that he maybe could have avoided. I'm moving over the right side. Bioforce coming in. Just going to see the Archons chased away a little bit. Here come those High Templars, though, wanting to put some more storms back on the table. And Zest just going to survive on 4 bases. Thing is, this is now where ByuN builds a bank, right? Because they are, you know, these guys are maxed out. ByuN's maxed out that a little bit sooner, and he's just got more bases. He's got more eco. So he's going to be mining much more, as you can see on the income advantage graph. Which means we're really not too far away. Really not too far away from seeing the next step of this, which is maybe just that ByuN becomes a bit overwhelming, that he can rebuild off of fights, and Zest really can't. And a lot of zone and EMPs, just expecting the High Templar to start moving forward to Storm. Zest has been so good at avoiding EMP. Like, I don't actually know if it's ByuN having bad EMP aim, or Zest just moving his High Templar in a smart way to avoid the typical EMPs you see being dropped, but he has done, I think it's a bit of both. I think there's some EMPs that ByuN has kind of scuffed and missed a little bit, and there's some EMPs that Zest has genuinely dodged out of like 2 or 3 times in a row, so a little bit of everything perhaps as we have ourselves a few Stalkers warping in. Vikings at the top, just going to get rid of an Observer. Ghost taking a few shots of damage, Stalkers coming through, Disruptors coming over. Zest going to make a push. I mean, remember that this push is it all in? Because he doesn't have a 5th base? Like, it's kind of a weird, you know, push to call all in, but it's very committed. I think he really wants to get something done here. His Vikings are straight up like one-shot carriers. Now he's just about lost that power, but, well, can ByuN clean up this army? That's our question. Pushing through, it's not easy. A lot of units on this right side that were previously dropping. Plan before to try and do whatever it can. SCVs will repair that, keep it up as long as possible. I mean, in theory, ByuN could just give up this base. He's got more CCs on the right side. Problem is with giving up this base is you're going to have to defend this high ground because otherwise your production comes under fire. There's a couple of EMPs going down. That should give the Vikings a couple of free shots onto the carriers if they can just get in range. Well, Viking count not looking healthy. Stalker's blowing forward convincingly, and Zest. There's one big army, no 5th base behind this main natural, almost 3rd base mined out. I mean, he's getting the job done, right? He just got up to so many carriers. And ByuN just cannot seemingly fight this. He's backing away once again. He's trying to get reinforcements to spawn and to help out. EMP lands on everything, including the High Templar that was still underneath this army, so no more storms available. As the Bioforce is coming through, the Interceptor count going down as well, remember, so we are losing power in this army of Zest, and ByuN's army supply is now becoming much more competitive a game. As this fight drags on, these Interceptors will not stand on their own, and we're going to see an attempted recall out, but multiple carriers going down on the recall. Archons here, one of them will at least go down right from the prism. Oh, okay, we can actually save them all with some juggling. They were far enough away. ByuN is gonna survive. That's actually an amazing, amazing EMP, because the EMP there landed on all of the High Templar that had Storm remaining. And that's what allows you to commit into that fight just a little bit more wholeheartedly as ByuN. Really allowing you to, well, win that out. And Zest just now starting a 5th because he realizes that his one army is gone. And now to stay in this game, he needs more bases to mine from. And that's why I said it was kind of an all-or-nothing attack, because he attacked without building a 5th behind it. In theory, he could have already had this base finished, but he was fully committed on winning the game with that one attack. He was not thinking about the future. He was not thinking about this attack not working out. And that's why there's not a base already set up and ready to go. Instead, we stand here as Vikings take a bad trade against carriers. And Archons kills one carrier but costs a lot of Vikings. Colossus showing up as well. I mean, this is where you actually do just want, like, as many Vikings as possible to shoot down Colossi and carriers. He's building forward at times still, maybe. You could argue maybe he was in a position to have added another starport on. That would have been nice, but not the end of the world. Force takes down the rocks. Just going to be seeing the Archons still setting up. I mean, ByuN's just going to be happy to build up a little bit himself. I think he really just wants to get like a very good convincing carrier count out. Sorry, Viking count. So you can really just shut down that carrier, shut down the Colossi, and then with EMPs, the rest of it should be pretty convincing, I believe. Yeah, full-on ground army from Zest. Probably a good idea. He actually didn't even have air upgrades. He's like +1. Obviously, the shield upgrades helps a little bit, but yeah, Vikings dodging out of a storm. Should really try and put damage on the Colossus, though. Maybe just wants to not fight in the super battery. Tries to draw this a little bit further away. By EMP, and you actually give the super battery so many targets, it almost does become a problem as well. We are out of battery energy, though. Prism will micro what it can, but the Colossi go down, and ByuN is going to take it to 3-3. We really are just going to go the whole distance in this best on. Welcome back to Game 7. It was Blackburn we haven't seen. Was the first map 2000? I was a bit distracted with the phone call. I think so. Alright, final map Blackburn. I kind of like this map for Terrans. I think Terrans agree as well. Especially TvP. You push over here, you're like, oh, look at me, I'm really scary. Defend the front of your natural. And it's like, jump into the main base, drop, drop, drop. Takes a lot of attention and focus and resources, really, to defend that move, and it is by far and away the popular move in this matchup. Oh, not this map. Oh, the scouts are going to meet each other in the slow zones. Neither player micros there. Working through the slow zone properly. Obviously on this map it is genuinely faster to just avoid the slow zone completely. Just micro it to not directly run across, but if you auto click across the map, that's going to be what happens. Yeah, really cool that we see a 7th map, and it actually still is just a competitive, like, tied-up series, right? Like, I really thought today we'd see, like, a 4-1, and everyone's going to start asking, why are they still playing? But, yeah, the games really just haven't been like that at all. It's been a really good series. 4 racks going to be finishing up, so we are going to see ByuN playing this 3 racks. Interesting, because I mean, if you can get up to the medevacs and stuff, then the drop play becomes effective again, but this is a lot about just pushing initially. Yeah, I guess it's kind of the same if you go factory, right? What do you really drop initially if you're, like, pushing with, like, a tank setup or something along those lines? Oracle is chrono boosting out. Going to be done here in a moment or two. So we're back to having like a Stargate versus 3 racks. And again, I kind of worry about this. I like Stargate on this map for the Phoenix being able to control that jump up hop in spot. As the Oracle moves all the way down to the bottom left side. Into the main. Gets perfect scouting. So instantly, again, same as what we saw. This is way back to game number 1. Zest cancels the second Phoenix and just sits on 1 Oracle, 1 Phoenix, and will now invest into a defense against this 3 racks while going for that fast third Nexus still. So you'll still build the fast third. This is how it played out on... Was it the first map this happened on, or was it Lightshade? Lightshade was the DT map, right? Lightshade was the DT map. I believe it was map number 1, and Zest was just super greedy, but he was able to defend. Maybe it was map 2. Anyway. On we go. I'm just going to see our batteries. Coming up on the front, we do see our Oracle into the left-hand side. Just going to turn around a little bit as well. Yeah, a couple of shots of damage. ByuN is pushing, and he's pushing quickly this game. 2 batteries up, 2 more batteries on the way. Sorry, 1 battery and 1 pylon on the way. This Nexus isn't done for 10 more seconds. If ByuN was able to hit before the Nexus finished, it means there's no super battery available, but I don't think he really cares anyway. Force fields are going to be important here as ByuN positions himself to potentially take this fight. He's not going to, right? It's been too long. Revelation goes down. He's trying to like bait a force field or 2, but there's no way, because if you don't go right away, you just get ever close to the next warp in, which just means that this attack is way less effective than it would have been initially. So yeah. Because shells building up, just gonna see those killed Marines, gonna push that Oracle out of here. Got taken down. Just gonna see the Oracle kind of coming through a little bit through this bottom side. A little Revelation drops down as well. Just gonna attack those Marines and Marauders quite nicely. On the upper right, we got these Marines that are just gonna be moving through as well. It's just gonna be coming across. They're gonna get themselves in a little bit of a setup where perhaps counterattack in. If they can bait this army to kind of chase you this way, you can attack in over here. You know, we still have that issue that we had in the previous game which looked like this, which is there's just no blink, there's no charge or anything for such a long time. I think this first attack of ByuN with medevacs or so could be really deadly as well. He is just going to stem in behind this mineral line. It's really cute because it really does just open the way for the other attack to move in as well. Doesn't quite get the opportunity. I love that Zest has built a cannon here, because this position is really going to be like heavily fought over. And Zest really recognizes that he's just behind on the tech, so he's just saying, right, let's make sure I prepare. Let's make sure I stay alive. That's exactly what he's going for at the moment. These rocks get shot down. The Phoenix of Zest going to patrol a little bit. Here's our first medevacs. Blinking +1 moments away. And it's ByuN going to stem in behind this mineral line again. He's just going to go for the probes this time. Massive force field. Zest realizes, hey, you're heavily committed in like this. You're absolutely looking to take the fight at the same time. And it's worth those force fields because you're moments away from blinking +1. Now it makes at least this army fight a little bit better for you, Zest. ByuN's going to force some more force fields. There's still a few left over. Zest buying himself time. He's edging toward Colossi. He's getting into a better position for himself in this game. More Bioforces rounding through the middle. Charge on the way up from Zest. The +2 attack still coming on the Forge. ByuN gonna get hit by a little revelation. That Bioforce coming forward, and a couple Stalkers already being pushed back. First force field going down. More force fields going down. We're going to stem up a storm as the Colossi continue through. Marines and Marauders having to dodge away a little bit. We're going to break into this position. Super Battery is active. I mean, the Super Battery put in work. ByuN needs to utilize the tanks. He's actually going to pull the SCVs as well. And they arrived a little late to the party. This fight broke out before the SCVs could be here as the buffer that they so often are. I think the big issue here for ByuN is he didn't get those Colossi killed off. If those are dead right now, this is a very different situation. You know, the SCVs he pulled were actually mostly the main, which is mined out anyway. He was obviously decided that this is just going to be a 2-base all-in to end the series, so it's just now or never, no matter what. Blip shows up, but one thing that's going to be difficult to deal with on 2-base is going to be that Dark Shrine finishing, so ByuN really is on a timer in a few different ways really right now, and well, there's a few SCVs stimming in there. Doesn't do much. His medevac's getting lower on energy as well. Not going to be long until they are just out of juice also. Here you go. Disruptor shot's going to fire. One tank gets hit. I mean, this is just the breakout from Zest. As he gets the tanks, he kind of backs it up, and he's just going to say, well, if you want to find the Super Battery, you can do that. One tank, one Liberator still remaining here. So a couple tech units left from ByuN, but the power of the Bioforce is slipping away, and it looks as though Zest is going to take this best of 7. 4-3, exciting series as we continue to push on through. There's that GG though, and that is ByuN giving it up and handing the series over to Zest. That's a really exciting series.